In late 2017, a series of flyers appeared across Los Angeles, California. The city isn't unaccustomed to strange happenings, but this one was different. The flyers read, "Bathe in my milk. Offer open to men only. Soy, almond, or traditional. Use my sponge. I will watch you. Schedule an appointment at bathinmymilk.com." These words were accompanied by pictures of said activity. Men in a filthy bathtub filled with milk, joined by an unsettling woman wearing a nightgown. Their faces have blank expressions, the creepiness only being amplified by the clearly ran-down interior. This picture spread like wildfire through the internet, with much of the discussion residing in the subreddit oddly terrifying. But this story only becomes even stranger when we enter the website bathinmymilk.com. Here we can view several other photos, all of men bathing in milk. With these higher resolution images, disturbing details start to emerge. Notice the rope present in all of the pictures, the decaying wallpaper, and disgusting towel. The toilet has clear stains on it, despite spray bottles and unknown cleaning products being within view. This begs the question, are they even cleaning products? And if not, what are they? All of the men are staring at the camera with either blank or confusing faces. The scene is extremely uncanny, like I'm looking at something that isn't even a part of our world. A dark, void realm. One of the most disturbing scenes is when the usual position of the old lady is changed, with her staring at the camera from the window. Hand smudges can be seen, indicating that this isn't the first time she's done this. If we scroll down to the bottom of the site, we can see the following text.
If interested, please email me right away.
A journalist working for the BBC attempted to get into contact with this woman, eventually being given a contact number. This is an excerpt from the article. "Hi, is this Bathe in My Milk? Well, it's Alan Wagner. Okay. We're wondering if someone, not us of course, were interested in arranging a milk bath. Could it be done?" Devastatingly, we were told that this would no longer be possible. We pointed out to Alan that as well as a great many relieved people, there may also be a disappointed few. "Yes, I've gotten hundreds of messages from people who say they want to take a milk bath. I've had to let them down." We double-checked. We definitely weren't speaking with the woman in the white gown. Was there really no sponge on offer? Not even some almond milk? No, they're all gone. It turns out that the offer of a milk bath was actually an elaborate hoax. Well, there we have it. It turns out that this creepy website was an art project by Alan Wagner. If we go onto his equally strange website, we can discover why he created bathinmymilk.com. It was originally an ad campaign for an unspecified drink company, but the project was too weird, so Alan was turned down. Alan, not wanting to waste the opportunity to creep people out, decided to do the ad campaign anyway, but with milk instead. If we look at Alan's past works, we can see that he really likes creating this type of confusing, absurdist art. Some of my favorites are: "I can chop anything. Bring me anything and I'll chop it. Wood, tire, strong wood. $400 reward for bringing me something that I cannot chop. Chopping is how I keep my mind thinking about good thoughts. Found this. Not giving it back. Sorry. Do not contact me. You should have kept a better eye on it. Found. This bird. Is this yours? No name tag. Yelled every name at it. Doesn't respond to any. Obeys no commands. Very poorly trained. Not going to hold on to your bird much longer. It is terrorizing my dogs and daughter. This is what I get for being good for once. See pics of birds and contact me. Soon. There are few more terrifying concepts than a plane crash. Even if it's an extremely rare event, falling from the sky to certain death below is an experience. Your last moments are filled with noise, screams, and regrets. Planecrashinfo.com is a catalogue of aviation incidences. The first thing you notice when entering the site is its early 2000s web design. Its rows and columns, alongside its simplistic color theory, makes it seem like a spreadsheet created in an office worker's cubicle. Contrary to other similar websites, it doesn't have any of the flashing warnings or dark atmosphere. It's almost cold, indifferent, like reality. Death. The site has many parts, but for this video, I will be focusing on only two: unusual accidents and lost words. Unusual accidents is a list of strange occurrences while in the air, such as on the 29th of November 1976, when an Air Piper 32300 crashed in the Grand Canyon after a German Shepherd interfered with flight controls, causing the plane to crash. There's a wide range of stories, so here's a couple. As a prank, a captain riding in the jump seat of an American airline DC-4 engaged the gust lock in flight. The command pilot, not knowing the gust lock had been engaged, rolled the elevator trim tab with no response. When the jump seat captain disengaged the gust lock, the aircraft went into a steep dive, executed part of an outside roll, and became inverted. Neither the command nor jump seat captain had seatbelts on, and they accidentally feathered number 1, 2, and 4 engines when they hit the controls with their heads. No one realized it at the time, but the feathering reduced power and allowed the co-pilot, who was strapped in, to pull out of the dive 300 feet from the ground. On the 1st of November 1955, a United Airlines DC-6B crashed 11 minutes after taking off from Denver on his flight to Seattle. The son of one of the passengers, John Graham, placed a dynamite bomb in his mother's luggage in the number 4 cargo hold in order to collect $37,000 in insurance. A delayed flight caused the bomb to detonate over flat land rather than the mountains as planned. 44 people were killed. Graham never showed any remorse for his actions and refused to file any appeals. He was executed for the crime on November 11th, 1956. During the 9th of September 1949, a DC-3 disintegrated in flight outside of Quebec, killing all 23 aboard. A dynamite bomb was planted in the forward baggage compartment by Albert Guay, a jeweler, in a plot to kill his wife, who was a passenger on the plane. Guay, who assembled the bomb, had his accomplice, Margaret Petrie, air express the bomb on the aircraft. Miss Petrie's brother, a clockmaker, helped make the timing mechanism. The insurance policy was for $10,000. All three were hanged for their crimes. Out of boredom, the captain and flight engineer of a national airlines DC-1010 decided to experiment and see what would happen to the auto-throttle system if the circuit breakers which supplied power to the instruments which measured the rotational speed of each engine's low-pressure compressor were tripped. This led to engine overspeeding and destruction of the engine. Pieces struck the fuselage, breaking a window, causing rapid explosive decompression, and a passenger was sucked out of the plane. The plane landed safely. The most disturbing part of this website is the last words section. Here, we can view the last tapes of a plane's CVR, cockpit voice recorder, or the control tower recordings. Most of these are transcripts, but some have audio recordings. This is what we will be focusing on. On the 10th of April, 2010, a Tu-154 carrying the Polish president, his wife, senior military officials, and parliament members crashed in Smolensk. The plane was attempting to land on Smolensk airport during a heavy fog, but descended too far below a normal approach, hitting the tree line and causing the plane to roll out of control. This is the last seconds of the CVR.
Ahead. Terrain ahead. Pull up. Pull up. Pull up. Pull up. Terrain ahead. Terrain ahead. Pull up. Pull up. Pull up.
Very rough target.
Pull up.
Control with the bigger rock.
Pull up. Pull up. Pull up.
On September 29th, 2006, a Boeing 737-8EH aircraft, which was en route to Rio from Manus, collided with an Embraer Legacy 600. The GOL aircraft suffered a severed wing, while the Legacy only suffered damage to its winglet, which made it possible for a successful emergency landing. The GOL flight lost control, broke up, and crashed, killing all 154 people on board. On the 4th of October 1992, a Boeing 747 cargo aircraft crashed in the Krovenwagen in Klein-Kreutberg Flats in the Bellemere neighbourhood of Amsterdam. 43 people were killed. When
Going down, on NEXPO, going down.
Is gebeurd.
Hal 186 to your heading.
Heeft geen zin, hij is geplastic.
Heb je hem gezien?
Eén grote rookbol boven de stad.
Jezus, net bij Whisky Papa Inside.
Bij Whisky Papa.
When exploring this website, it can be difficult to grasp that all of these incidences involved real people who had plans, dreams, futures, that didn't think they were going to die that day. That's what makes this website truly terrifying to me. the ease of access to death, the last moments, all neatly tied into this unassuming website. Malls. Going to the shopping mall as a kid, at least for me, was the highlight of my week. It was the only time that I'd be able to gawk at some video games, and if my mother allowed it, buy myself one. But have you ever wanted to live in a mall, within the small corridors set aside from public view? This is what art collective Raff Raff did in 2003 at Providence Place Mall, Rhode Island. The idea began after Eagle Square Mill Housing, an abandoned building that many local artists called home, was demolished to build the shopping complex. Michael Townsend, alongside Adriana Yoto, his wife, and 3 other collaborators decided, in an attempt to reclaim some of the artistic credibility of the area, to live in the mall for a week. Each started with $20, with one of them losing their bill. They all dressed up to fit in, spending hours walking around the mall, examining every object in every store. Some of them slept in a column in the garage, and some slept in a forgotten room, which Townsend had spotted during the mall's construction. The room was wedged in the middle between the parking lot and the mall. This would later become their home. Going into the 4th day, we had a meeting at Borders. We said, you know what? We could be here forever, and nobody would care. The word micro-development came up. We said, you know what? We have a responsibility to come back and micro-develop that space and make a home. Because it was grossly underutilized space in a very prime real estate location downtown. On his website, Trummerkind.com, Townsend adds that during the Christmas season of 2003 and 2004, radio ads for the Providence Place Mall featured an enthusiastic female voice talking about how great it would be if you could live at the mall. The central theme of the ads was that the mall not only provided a rich shopping experience, but also had all the things that one would need to survive and lead a healthy life. This, along with a wide variety of theoretical musings about my relationship to the mall as a citizen and public artist, provided the final catalyst for making the apartment. The first thing moved in by the Gang of 8 was a sectional couch, which they christened as the key object that makes a place a home. They built a wall and a door at the end, requiring large amounts of construction material. These materials would be brought in by car and carried up the fire exit stairwells. In order to disguise the space, the artists cemented together 90 30-pound cinder blocks to make a wall, then installed a generic beige-colored industrial door. They brought in chairs, tables, bureaus, and an 8-foot tall china hutch. The apartment lacked running water, so the artists lugged in gallons of water. When they had to go, they simply used the mall's toilets. They did have electricity, which they got by running an extension cord to an outlet in the storage room. There was no heating. The space was discovered at one point, but the thief simply made off with the PlayStation. Townsend said that this room became a home once it was burglarized. The gang had become emboldened, deciding to create a website for potential buyers of the apartment. This included direct instructions on how to get to the apartment, alongside photographs. Townsend eventually wanted to get a job at the mall, becoming a reflection of the mall itself. He wanted to dress like those who shopped in the mall and those who worked in the mall. Townsend would spend back-to-back nights in the mall, falling asleep on the apartment's couch and in the morning walking to his job's office. But eventually, all good things had to end. In September 2007, 4 years after the founding of the mall apartment, Townsend was intercepted by mall security while leaving the apartment. It was dismantled shortly after. Townsend would only be sentenced to probation. The Trummerkind mall apartment is a fascinating story from the early days of the internet. An event that wouldn't last long today. A glimpse into a world long forgotten. Bears are one of the scariest animals on land. I thankfully live in a place of the world where they don't exist, but in Russia, this is not the case. Being the symbolic animal of the country, bears are common, especially in the Far East. Sakhalin Island is one of the farthest east regions. It has a relatively low population, with a large bear population. But due to recent overfishing, bears have been looking for alternative food sources. 5 construction workers and their dog would discover this in 2004 while working on a bridge at a remote part of the island. A bear cub would become curious to the noise and approach the group. One of them would start to record the event. But little did they know, they would record their last moments.
Сейчас она ему поймает. Сейчас она сзади нее вошла. Угонем на них, куда полетим нахуй. Вот, это уже не я. Нет места. Вот, так я уже эту всю флешку снимал. Ничего себе.
As a result of this video, 3 builders and a dog were literally torn to pieces, and 2 more men were hospitalized in serious condition. The distance that the mother bear is able to lapse in a second is terrifying. Despite all that weight, bears are able to run at extreme speeds. There are numerous bear attack videos on the internet, but for me, this one remains the most terrifying. Things go from lighthearted to worrying to straight up terrifying in a minute. You never know when it's your turn to die.